how to eat in it.
What's
Yeah.
that? You ready? Okay, I'll call the special meeting for November 23rd, 2021 to order. The time is 6:45. New business, item one, consideration possible action. Item one, approve one additional temporary police officer position within the Everman Police Department on a temporary basis, item 22032. Go ahead, Craig.
You want to entertain a motion?
I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve item 22032.
I second.
Motion made and seconded.
So we've got a full-time police officer. One of our police officers serves in the Texas National Guard. He has been activated and deployed to the border for a 1-year deployment. So he's on a very lengthy deployment to the border under the governor's orders, which will put us short-staffed. I've got two options. Option A would be to fulfill his and cover his shifts with part-time and overtime. However, I believe that would not, I think that would be cost prohibitive to do it that way. I would like to proceed with moving forward on hiring a full-time temporary officer to fill that position. I believe not only will that help us in the budget for the year, but it will also give me another personnel on staff in the event that another officer chooses to leave. I do have an officer in an application process right now for Fairbanks, Alaska. He's pursuing that as a part of his career goal, and so far he's done very well throughout the process. So I anticipate, as much as I hate to say it, I hate to see him leave, but I do anticipate that one day soon we'll probably be losing him, and that just gives me another officer to transition in to help keep the short staffness that we're suffering from down a little bit. So I'm just asking council to authorize another full-time position. It is important to know that the impact on the budget will still be impacted. We do still, while any military individual is deployed, have to cover the benefit cost associated with that employee. So we'll be incurring another benefit cost in addition to salary.
So we won't be paying his salary, but we'll be paying for his benefits.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Told you that 5,000 wouldn't last long.
I'm hoping I can get creative and still bring it in under budget this year. That's my
Ooh,
How easy is it to get somebody to work for just a year?
I think in hopes that maybe this will eventually, if I get another opening, turn into something long-term. I know that we have several applicants right now who are interested in coming on board with us. And I know that one of them has already been talked to about taking a temporary full-time position. He was actually interested in part-time, but he's interested in taking this on a temporary basis. If the full-time position doesn't transition to being a permanent spot for him in the future, I wouldn't just terminate him. We would just knock him down to part-time until a position became available. So we would still do our best to offer what we could to that employee.
okay, cool.
Any more discussion? Poll the council.
Place one,
Aye.
place four,
Aye.
place six,
Aye.
mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Item two, approve City of Everman Personnel Manual 5.02 vacation leave. Item E, no accumulation 22033. Just keep in mind, you have this one form here. It's got all our employees on it. Let's not use their names. If you have a question, then let's not call out their names during the open meeting.
And Mayor, before we entertain a motion on this, I do want to discuss this before the motion, because I think the motion actually needs to be approve of variance to what's worded on there.
Yeah.
Our current city policy states that city employees' vacation hours will be truncated on January 1st to 180 hours. So therefore, any employee who has in excess of 180 hours, they lose that excess vacation time, and it's truncated back to 180. We have several employees, all the ones on that spreadsheet that I gave you, that I supplied to you that are highlighted yellow are in excess of 180 hours. All those employees are looking at losing their vacation time on January 1st. Some employees have 200, 300, 400 hours of vacation time. The purpose, when the truncation policy was introduced by the previous city manager, it was a good starting point for us as a city, because we did not have any sort of policy that limited our liability. In other words, every vacation hour that we have, that accounts for a liability that we have to account for. That's money that goes against the city. What do we owe that for? Our policy on anytime an employee is separated in good standing, they retire or quit in good standing, that employee is paid up to 180 hours of vacation time. So The question is always that I get, what's the benefit of having more than 180 hours of vacation? Well, the benefit is actually if an employee has to take FMLA leave or has some kind of extenuating circumstance, they're going to be out for more than just that 180-day period. If they suffer an injury off the job that they have to rely on their PTO time for, that's where the vacation time really becomes a benefit. So after talking with Susan, I think what we would ultimately like to do is implement, instead of a truncation policy, we would like to implement a cap and put a cap in place. January is our benchmark for reviewing and approving on updating all of our city personnel policies. So that will be one that we'll bring back a recommendation for in January. All we're asking for tonight is that city council approve a variance so that we do not have to truncate hours on January 1st. The concern that I have right now is I literally have a stack of vacation requests on my desk from employees wanting to take a month off because they're looking at losing a whole bunch of hours. So I just wanted to bring this before you and see if we could get this approved so I could put those employees at ease and put my mind at ease on who's going to work.
So I have a question. So when
Well,
you work,
let's-
oh.
Do we want to do the motion first before we start questions or no?
Yeah, I'll probably need to do a motion first.
Okay, they're asking for a variance,
Yeah.
so if I can get a motion,
I move we approve a variance to the Everman Personnel Manual 5.02 vacation leave, no accumulation.
second.
okay, motion made, seconded. Now go ahead.
Okay, so one question that I have is when when an employee is hired, what is their vacation time with the city?
None. When they're initially hired, they don't have any.
They accrue paid time off.
Yes, they accrue that time off. They're not allowed or permitted to take vacation within the first 6 months of their employment. And they accrue that up to, for an employee from 0 to 5 years, and I'm trying to pull this from my memory, I believe it's 140 hours annually. For an employee with 5 to 10 years, it's 160. And for an employee with 10 or more years, they accrue 180 hours a year. Is the way that the policy is broken down.
Okay, so then we never capped it off where if you didn't use certain amount by the end of the year, it rolled over. So that's how they accumulated over 180.
Correct,
hours.
correct. We did not truncate last year because of COVID. Nobody was allowed to do anything or go anywhere because of COVID. And so it's just kind of built up since,
Yeah.
and now we've got a tremendous amount of vacation time that's been built up. I think it's better for us to implement a cap rather than say that you can't accrue any more vacation, then have these employees accrue it and then try to take it away from them. I think that's a struggle that we face right now. I think these employees that have over 400, I think that's a pretty high amount for some of our standard employees. I don't recommend that the cap be that high. I did provide a sample from a neighboring agency that the mayor was able to provide for us. That may be a good guideline for us. Kind of gives you an idea, 240 hours equals 30 days. 320 hours equals 40 days, kind of gives you an idea of the number of hours and where we would want to cap an employee. Keep in mind that for firefighters that work a 24-hour shift, it's always 1.5 times
Yeah.
the normal number of hours because of their 24-hour shift style. So we'll keep it somewhere in that ballpark between the 240 and 320. We'll put together some recommendations and bring that back to you because it is important as a city that we limit the liability, but I think it's also important that we try to protect the employees' vacation time as well.
Yes.
Well, and a lot of jobs, what they do is they tell you have this full year to use all your paid time off. And then at the end of the year, what you do not get paid time off, then you get paid for that time off to start again at zero at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Is that something that we're thinking about, or that's not something? we're thinking about?
We've talked a lot about wanting to do a vacation buyback program that would be offered to the employees like that, so they could buy back some of their vacation time. In other words, if they don't use it, they can still collect compensation for it. But I just don't think the city's in a good financial position right now to address that with the general fund. It's certainly a goal, and I think a benchmark that we need to try to put within the next 5 years is to get something like that implemented. That'd be a great benefit to offer the employees. But we're just not in a good financial position just yet to do that.
I would love that. Like for me, if I were working and then I could buy it back at the end of the year, I would love that.
A lot of places offer that, and it's a great benefit to offer.
Yes.
It's very attractive when you're trying to do positive recruitment and bring in good people too. But I worry that our financial position at the moment
Well,
is
we
just
don't
not
have the money
not
for it
stable
now.
enough. We've worked hard to get it to where it's at. And I think over the next couple of years, we'll continue to improve.
Yes,
And that should certainly be at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Things we address.
I agree.
Would we just limit then when we say cap is 180 per year, that's what they're going to get every year?
Not necessarily 180. We'll bring back a recommendation. I'm thinking somewhere between 240 and 320 hours. Somewhere in there is where we'll look at capping it. I need to get with Susan and actually develop a policy on it to bring back to you in January when we approve the personnel policy. But I think 180 is not enough. I don't think that's high enough compared to other cities. They're going to see what other city benefits offer, and they're going to see that our number of vacation hours is significantly lower. Our accrual rate is faster, but the cap is much lower than other cities. So I'd like to get us somewhere on par with them. But tonight, all we're asking is just that we provide a variance and do not truncate on January 1st.
Any other discussion? Okay, so we have a motion to approve a variance for the Everman Personnel Manual 5.02. Would you poll the council?
Place 1,
Aye.
place 4,
Aye.
place 6,
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Nothing for executive session. We are adjourned. Time is 6:56.